Today I'm going to show you two common brioche decreases, the brioche left slant decrease and the brioche right slant decrease. Both of these stitches decrease 3 stitches down to 1 stitch. This is necessary to maintain the ribbing pattern on both sides of your work. This is a brioche left slant or a right slanting decrease, and this one is a brioche left slanting decrease. Now what I'm working on is a little hat, so I'm at the decrease part of, the top of the hat. Both of these decreases take 3 stitches and combine them into one, like I said earlier. They are always going to start with the yarn over slip above a knit column and end with the yarn over slip above the knit column, and they have that BRK or brioche knit stitch in the middle, which on this side looks like a purl. So I'm going to demonstrate these first, the Continental style, and then I will demonstrate them both in the English style of knitting. So here I've worked up to a right slanting decrease. I've got to do my yarn over slip one before the decrease, and now here we have the 3 columns. The 2 columns. It looks like 3 columns because I have this decrease here that made those 2 columns into 1 column. So here we have the yarn over slip, let me separate my stitches. There we go. They got bunched up. The yarn over slip, the brioche knit, and the yarn over slip that I'm going to work with. Now the right slanting decrease is a lot more complicated than the left slanting decrease, so bear with me. I'm going to show it in both styles so you'll get to see it twice. You start by taking your yarn over slip one, both strands of it, and slipping it knitwise. Then you knit the next stitch and pass that yarn over slip over the stitch you just knit. So I passed both strands of that yarn over slip over that stitch. Now transfer that stitch over to the left needle and take the next yarn over slip and pass it over the stitch toward the right. And that's what gives it the right slant, because that stitch is in the front. Now transfer that stitch back to your right needle and that decrease is done. I'm going to yarn over slip and slip my marker to get up to the next decrease, which is a brioche left slant. This one's a little bit easier. You start it the same way. You slip that yarn over slip stitch, both strands of it, to your right needle knitwise. Then you knit the next 2 stitches together, which is 3 strands because it has that yarn over in it. So the next 2 stitches involves 3 strands of work. You knit them all together. And then you pass the yarn of both strands of that yarn over slip over the stitch you just knit. And that finishes the left leaning decrease. Now I'm going to knit up to my next decrease section in the regular brioche pattern. And here we are. We have this column of knits with the yarn over slip one at the top. We have a brioche purl, and we have this column of knits with the yarn over slip on top of the column. Now this is the right leaning decrease, which is the brioche right slant, and I'm demonstrating this one English style. So we're going to slip those 2 strands of the yarn over slip one knitwise. Then, let me get back, because especially with English style, when you do that yarn over slip one beforehand, then you start this stitch. So I've got my yarn up front here like I'm going to purl, because that's the yarn over slip. So now I'm going to slip that stitch knitwise, Now it kind of feels like you should do this because you're used to doing that when you know, bringing your yarn back to knit between the needles. But be careful you don't do that here. You want to go over the back of the needle to do your knit stitch. So let me show you that again. Let me just go back and start the sequence again. Now this stitch is not part of the decrease, but you bring your yarn forward and you do the yarn over slip. Okay, now I'm going to start the decrease. So slip those 2 strands of that stitch as if to knit. Now you've got your yarn here. Make sure when you knit this stitch, you finish that yarn over and you don't bring that yarn up between the stitches. So I've slipped the stitch, I knit a stitch. Now I'm going to pass those 2 strands of that slip stitch over the stitch I just knit. Pass that stitch to the left needle. And slip the 2 strands of the next yarn over slip over that stitch and off the needle. Then slip your stitch back to the right needle, and that finishes the right leaning decrease. Now I'm going to yarn over slip 1, slip my marker, and we'll start the left leaning decrease. And that starts the same way. You slip the yarn over slip 1, both strands of it as if to knit. Then you knit the next 2 stitches together, which includes 3 strands because of that yarn over. Knit them together. And then slip the 2 strands of the yarn over slip that you slipped earlier, that's a lot of slips, over that stitch. And that finishes the left leaning decrease.